Hey everybody, today we're at Lamborghini Chicago, and what we're doing is we're checking out the brand new 2010 Lotus Evora. We're going to walk around and just show some of the features on this car because it really is a brand new vehicle. This just came out for the States, actually just came out for the world I should say. It's kind of a revolutionary car for Lotus, probably the most refined car that they've had. Equipment wise, probably is most comparable I would say to a 911 Carrera S. I have not driven this car, so I'm actually looking forward to that challenge after this, but look across the front. I mean, a very almost timely design in a way, meaning it's semi-timeless, but you've got the xenon headlamps up here, brings them into the 21st century. The Exige at least did not have that available for a long time. But up in front here, you're going to find it's mostly cooling ducts and braking components. There isn't a trunk up front. There is one in the rear, along with the rear engine. But down here, you're going to find the stock Pirelli P0. On the front, you got a 225/40 ZR18. Look at those cross-trail brakes in there. You can see the Lotus cap, but again, brand new. Got the Evora badge there. But all the way down the driver's side, it's obviously a perfect car. Nice and flush fit. I mean, look at the design of this car. The rear is actually a lot much wider than the front, and this car is one of those cars that looks different from every angle. See an intake vent there, but it does have two rear seats, so it's considered a 2+2. Our rear tire here, this is, they're actually a staggered size. This is a Pirelli P0 obviously, but a 255/35 ZR19 on the rear. That's pretty sharp. What a great looking wheel too, and some pretty serious brakes. But you're going to notice a focus on comforts and convenience that you've never really seen before with Lotus. Rear park sensors all the way across, still twin outlet exhaust right in the middle, proper badging. I think this is probably one of the best rear ends of any car ever built. It really is stunning. And you can see the engine through the glass right here on the lid. Very understated. I think this car in person looks a lot more amazing than it does really on paper. I don't think pictures does this car justice at all. So to see one in person is an entirely different experience as well. But it really is designed to stay understated, but I don't think the yellow doesn't scream out, "Hello, look at me." Got keyless entry and alarm on here, so just hit the trunk button twice, it'll pop for you. You've got a decent trunk in here. I'm not going to say it's huge because it's not, but I mean it's definitely more than ample for 2 or 3 people to get out of town for a few days. If you really crammed it with some small bags, you probably could get out of town for a week and a half. But the engine is still also accessible right here. This engine cover pops off with a tool right there. It's a Toyota-based V6. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But the balance of this car is supposed to be amazing. And as far as a track monster, I've seen one demonstration of it. Pretty impressive. If you've ever been in a Lotus, at least you'd know that it's very difficult to step in and out of because it's got a high sill here that you really kind of have to contort your body to get in. Way more conventional in this car. I'm a 6-footer. Step in simple. Drop myself right in. But I don't even know I'm in a Lotus right now. I mean, it's so luxurious. Leather stitching on the dashboard. Great leather wheel. This actually reminds me a lot more of a Lamborghini Gallardo. But everything is really sublime to the touch. The door panel is really exquisite. I do see some Jaguar switchgear on here. I got the turn signals. Looks like the speaker housings and the window switches, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's actually a pretty sweet surprise. So again, for a Lotus, this is a 2+2. You do have 2 seats in the rear here. I don't think generous would necessarily be the word to describe them, but they do exist. Let your insurance agent know that when you take delivery of the car. Again, let's talk features with the Lotus. I'm still pleasantly surprised. Traction control, you've got a sport mode for the car. Cruise control right here on the steering wheel. But what an amazing looking steering wheel. It's small, exactly what you would expect of a Lotus. Navigation system. When did you ever see a factory navigation system in a Lotus? It's pretty neat. It actually is an Alpine source system, but it does have the little Lotus silhouette there that shows you it was a factory install. Air conditioning. Right below that, you got your full variety of climate control here. This kind of reminds me, go ahead and make a comment on it. It kind of reminds me of a Veyron, the way this whole console kind of cascades right down into the shifter. Really a neat design. The visibility looking forward is fantastic. I'll bet the rearward visibility, we'll find out, isn't that bad either. If you look at the screen here, you've got a reverse camera there. You can see an Aston Martin and a Lamborghini back there. But along with the park sensors, it doesn't matter how your rearward visibility is. I guess you can see everything behind you no matter what. Don't let the look of these seats fool you. These are really very comfortable seats. They are Recaro, which is a racing seat company. They do make these. But again, leather stitched, extremely supportive, nice bolstering, not too wide. Sometimes you get put in cars that the bolstering just hugs you, and if you're of my stature, it would feel a little tight. But pretty impressive in here. I think it's time for us to go get this baby out on the road. Well, welcome to the Lotus Evora. We probably put about all of a mile on here since we left Lamborghini Chicago, and my first impression is, I mean, what an incredible build quality. We're going 55 miles an hour right now, and I don't know if the camera's giving you any indication of how quiet it really is in here, but it's very, very quiet. Car rides really nice. Everything feels top-notch to the touch. Great leather, nice soft cut of leather at that. The ergonomics have definitely been amped, but everything that made it an Elise amazing is still in this car. I think this is really a comfy, well put together, sweet car. No complaints out of this guy. Nice and light. That shifter communicates great. The steering is Lotus steering, but it's got power assist. In a Lotus? Get out of here, no way. It's that little blip going down. The refinement of this car is like beyond anything you could have ever expected from a Lotus. Definitely daily driver material. You know, I think the Lotus purists would rag on this probably until they got behind the wheel, just saying it's too refined, it's too soft, it's too much, but I would strongly, strongly disagree with them. All right, here's the first gear roll on. Whoa! Did you hear that thing hook up? Holy cow. Did you see the shift lights go on? This is about as sporty as they come. We're on a back road here that has some nice little twisty curves, and I mean the steering you barely breathe on it and the car moves, but the gas pedal's light, the brakes are light, but they communicate well. And the clutch, it's so feathery light, but you can, like here, we're gonna go from, go to second. That's it, little blip, clutch is light, comes right back up. But when you dig into this car, it doesn't disappoint you. Now the engine in this car is a 3.5 liter Toyota-based V6. Listen, think how soft the ride is in here. It's basically the kind of car that's flexible enough where you've got a lot of low-end torque for a 6-cylinder, so driving around town, it's as smooth as can be. Think about it, Toyota makes Lexus, the smoothest cars in the world. So they're not, you know, they know what they're doing. On the flip side of that, you've got a car that has bulletproof reliability, along with a 6-speed that is better than any stock Lotus 6-speed I've ever driven. Comfy, great gauges, just doesn't feel like a Lotus. And that's not a bad thing, because I don't think a Lotus is for everybody, but this car just feels like the ultimate evolution of what Lotus was ever good at. And not to say that they were never good at building cars, they've always built some awesome cars, but they've always been track racers. This car's still that, but you could drive it to work every single day, if you so chose. I would.